Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of our PBALC live stream shows. This month, we are focusing on financial literacy. Last week, as you know, we had guest Emily Lewis, who talked about taxes. And today, we welcome Erica King from Southwest 66 Credit Union. And she's going to tell us a little bit about credit unions and saving and all kinds of things. So welcome, Erica. We're so happy to have you here. And to all of our viewers, you know that Southwest 66 Credit Union is also our 2021 live stream sponsor for this year. So we're very grateful and thankful to the credit union for helping us promote these live streams.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yes. Well, so like I mentioned, Erica's going to be discussing a little bit about the importance of budgeting, especially during these hard economic times, smart ways to use your stimulus checks, because I know a lot of you are receiving those, and some of the differences between checks and credit unions, and just touch a little bit on the importance of having a bank account. I know there's many in this area in the Permian Basin that don't have, are underbanked, and are not using banks or credit unions for their financial transactions. So Erica's going to talk a little bit about that, about why it's important to have a bank account. So Erica, just let's start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and your role there at the credit union.
I'm Erica King, and I am the Director of Lending here at Southwest 66. I originally started in the credit union world and here at Southwest 66 in 2002. So I've been in credit unions my whole life, since I was old enough to pretty much work. Love what I do, love helping people with their finances and just getting people everything that they need. So very exciting.
All right. Well, let's start off by discussing why people are underbanked. So why people are not using financial institutions, they're not using banks or credit unions. I know, some of the reasons that we get, particularly from our students, is that they feel like there's not services available, and there's not enough banks or credit unions in their particular area where they're working, or they just don't have the time or money to invest in a bank, I guess, or the big one is that they don't trust banks, because we, in particular, a lot of our students that we serve are, they migrate here from, or immigrants from another country, and in their country, banks are not to be trusted.
Right.
And so there's a lot of reasoning, and there's also in reasoning for us promoting these live streams is because there's a lack of financial literacy. So you want to touch on those topics and in kind of talk about why people should really still invest in having a bank account, either a bank or a credit union.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing, like you said, is people being in fear of not trusting places to have their money. But we are so advanced from how things used to be. Your money is federally insured, so there's no worries with any of that stuff. And the biggest part is putting your money in a savings account. When you put money under your pillow, you're not earning interest off of that money. So the biggest thing is people need to put money in their savings, and you're going to be earning money off of your money. There's so many services available to people, debit cards, credit cards. I mean, when people open their accounts now, we have the instant issue debit cards. So when you're carrying around cash and you lose your cash, it's gone. With us, if you deposit your money, it's not going anywhere. You have your debit card. If you ever lost it, all you got to do is call and cancel that debit card, but your money's still going to be there. So,
and Erica, you want to touch a little bit about, because maybe, some of our students in particular don't understand how financial institutions work in the United States. So you want to talk about what it means to be federally, what means when banks or credit unions are federally insured.
Uh-huh. Basically, what that means is if something ever happened to the credit union or bank where your money is, you are insured up to a certain amount. Now, that varies depending on, if it's a single party account, if it's a joint account, what type of account that is.
Mhm.
Um, so, of course, when you're opening an account and you put a large amount of money in there, you do want to ask, how much is this account insured up to? But basically, if something ever happened to the credit union and it went away or the bank, you are guaranteed you're insured by your federal government that you will get that money. So
Okay.
your
And I
money
think
is
that's
safe.
important for, our viewers and our students to know that because I said there's a lot of mistrust with our students that come from other countries, Mexico or Venezuela or Burmese. So they're like, no, in our country, financial institutions are not to be trusted, but it's different in the United States. And for
Absolutely.
those that, say that there's not any services available in the, particular town that they live in or something like that, like you mentioned, financial institutions are so advanced now that you can basically do almost all of your banking online. So you want to talk about with some of the services that in particular Southwest 66 offers to people that maybe they don't have a brick and mortar location that they can go to, but they can still have an account and view it online or
Correct.
do everything online.
So there's a lot of different things. So we have, of course, online access. So anywhere you are, you can either go online. We have the mobile app that you can access on your phone. So you can log in there, look at your account. You can do transfers between your accounts with us, those type of things. But we are also actually in a credit union alliance. So all over the world, you can go to any credit union basically and access your money as long as they are in the alliance with us. So there's thousands of them. So,
That's great to know.
hmm
Because I know a lot of our students travel, have relatives all over the United States and all over the world too, and it's good to know that they can access their account at any time
absolutely. And of
from
course,
anywhere.
we're always available to call. We have a call center. You can call with any questions. We can wire money. You can Western Union money, all those types of
Mhm.
things if you are in
Right.
a
Yeah. And I've read, that a lot of people still use they cash their paychecks or their benefit checks at these check cashing services, or they pay their bills with money orders. And I read somewhere that if you do that, people usually end up spending more than $500 a year. So it's
Mhm.
more beneficial for them to invest in a financial institution.
Absolutely.
Because I don't think they realize that. And you want to touch on that and say, especially those check catching services, they are not good.
Oh no, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what their fees are, but I think it's like 10% of your paycheck. So whatever you're, cashing your paycheck, 10% is going to them. Where if you just came to us or, another credit union, wherever it may be, but normally as long as you have a savings and checking, that is free. So you can deposit cash, whatever you want to do, and there's no fee to that. Every time you do a money order, everybody has different fees on those, but those could be up to $10, I'm assuming, or
Right.
more. Um, when you're doing $10 times how many times you're doing that a year, that's a lot of money.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just more beneficial for them to have a checking or savings account with a financial institution and write a check instead of, having to purchase a money order. And then, if you're paying 10 bills and purchasing 10 money orders, that's going to add up.
Right. Even better, we have the option of bill pay. So you would log online and basically you set all your bills up for bill pay and they send on the date you tell them to. You don't write a check or anything. It does it all for you.
Mhm. And does Southwest 66 Credit Union help their clients through this process of setting up their online account? Because I know there's, especially with 2020, we figured out that there's a lot of people that their digital skills are not up to par. And so are
Right.
there members there as yourself or any other loan officers that can help them through that process,
Yes,
setting
ma'am.
that process up?
When they're opening their account, they are asked what all services they want and they are walked through all those services. So, absolutely.
Perfect. And I know probably any financial institution will have members available to help, um, a client through that process. So
Right.
if they're hesitant about, opening an account, they're like, I don't know how to, log on to my online account. Sure, Southwest Credit Union and other financial institutions can help them through
Yes.
that process.
We also have like an internet cafe basically where they can come in and log into their account in the lobby and stuff like that. So if they have questions, we can walk them through that as well.
Perfect. And so tell us a little bit about the importance of saving, especially like I mentioned during these economic times. It's rough. A lot of people have been laid off or unemployment or are living on a very tight budget. So give our viewers some advice on how they can best save and how credit like your credit union can help them set up a budget.
So, we actually, there's about 10 of us that are certified in credit counseling. So,
Mhm.
that's the perfect opportunity. We do this for free for people. They can come in, they can, discuss with us, hey, bills are tight. I'm not sure what I should pay, what I shouldn't
Mhm.
pay, or what I should pay off first to kind of help things. So, we would sit down with them. Of course, if they wanted credit counseling, we would pull credit. Go step by step in kind of the process that we would recommend them do to help them get to where they need to financially be. Um, but first and foremost, part of that is your savings. Part of what you should budget for is to have that savings. That way, when things come up, we're not diving into our credit cards and, just getting further into debt. So,
Mhm.
first thing you should always save for is some type of an emergency savings. So, I always tell people every check, you should budget at least 5% and put that into a savings account,
Right.
whether that should kind of be like a bill to you, and that way when those emergencies come up you're not going further into debt doing that. So very
Exactly.
important.
And people have the option of having a checking and a savings account, so they can automatically transfer, $10 from every paycheck into their savings, just to have that, you know, uh, that money there, like you mentioned, in case an emergency comes up. How much do you recommend that people should have in their savings emergency account?
um it's really based off of everybody's income because everybody's different and everybody's bills are different, but
Mm-hmm.
I at least recommend at least $2,000.
Okay.
$2,000 is kind of a typical, your water heater goes out, it can help get with that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Always as much as you can, but minimum, I would say at least $2,000.
Okay. Now, let's talk about some smart ways to use your stimulus check. I know a lot of people are getting their stimulus checks, and unfortunately, they're having to use that stimulus check or monies to pay back rent or things like that. But if you're not in that situation, what do you recommend the best way to use that?
Right. So, first and foremost, like you said, if you have to, and if you've been affected by COVID or, oil field changing, stuff like that, of
Mm-hmm.
course, your main goal is to pay those bills that you need to pay to stay above water.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if, of course, if you don't need to use it for that, my next recommendation would be to pay off some debt. So, to help you get out of debt and help you be able to save that money instead
Mm-hmm.
of having to spend it on those type of things. Next, I would build your emergency savings.
Okay.
And then after that, what I would recommend is to build up your future. So basically, you want to invest in your future. If you could start saving for student loans, you could start putting in your IRAs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know this year it changes yearly, but I believe this year you could put up to 6,000 in your IRA deposited.
Okay.
Um, and then, of course, you could also talk to some kind of investor and look into doing investments with that.
Okay.
So, those are
And
my
just touch a
recommendations.
little bit on what an IRA is.
So, an IRA is going to be an individual retirement account.
Okay.
So, of course, all of us hope to be able to retire one year, and
Mm-hmm.
they're very important to have. Most of the time, you can have them set up through your employer, but you can also set up one through your credit union or bank. And you're able to at least deposit, like this year, $6,000 a year. It usually stays pretty close to that amount. So it's just an additional retirement that you can have on top of your retirement with your employer.
And so touch a little bit on that too. Well, you know, a lot of people don't feel the need to retire. They're like, oh, I'm just going to work until I'm 100. But, you know, especially in this area of Permian Basin, a lot of this the work in this area is somewhat hard labor. And, you know, I tell them, you know, what if your back goes out and you can't work? You're not going to have anything to fall back on. So, you know, just talk a little bit about what the importance of RAs and retirement and savings accounts.
I mean, right now, I could say right now, people, you know, if something happens and you're old enough, you fall into, you get Social Security. Well, we don't know if that'll be available when it's time to retire. You know, you never know if you're going to be able to get that Social Security. And the Social Security is not near as much as you would make by working. So, I would love to say I could work forever. But in the same sense, I would love to be at 65 and able to spend my life traveling and doing those type of things and enjoying life instead of, you know, like you said, the work around here is hard labor. And when we're older, that's not as easy on us. So,
Right.
And when they can hire all these younger people that can probably work a lot faster and harder, at some time, you might be replaceable. So it's always important to have that savings so you're able to live comfortably when you're older and at that age.
And just simplify what a retirement plan is. I know they can get complicated, but just in the most simplest forms is just saying, you know, it's some money that you're setting aside that you cannot touch until you're a certain age, and so you can have that
Right. So
basically when you quit working.
right. So basically, it is essentially a savings account, but it's a savings account that you cannot touch. You cannot touch it until you're at least 65. Now, you can withdraw from it if you choose to do that, but if you do that, you will be penalized. And normally, it's up to 20%. So whenever you pull money out of there before the age of 65, you're going to be penalized. So, it's smart to leave it in there if you can and don't touch it and just let it save. So it's
And
basically a savings account that's protected for you for when you're older.
right. And so let's talk a little bit about not touching that, not withdrawing until you know you're a certain age. A lot of people think, you know, that do have retirement programs set up, but they end up withdrawing early. And just talk about why you should avoid that as much as possible.
Of course, because you're putting money in there for when you're at that retirement age, and if you keep pulling out, and I know a lot of people do this. You know, you think, oh, I want to build a swimming pool, and I have money in my retirement, so let's pull that. But that's not what our retirement's for. Our retirement is so we're able to enjoy and have that money when it's time to. So if you keep pulling out and pulling out and pulling out, you're possibly not going to be able to retire till a later age. So I never recommend pulling out from retirement unless you absolutely have to.
And you will also get penalized too by the IRS.
And
So
it hurts you for sure when that income tax time comes and they see that withdrawal. It's not as pretty as it would have been without that, for sure.
I think you can live without a pool for a while, because when you turn 70 years old and you think, man, I cannot, you know, I can't, I cannot go another day, you know, turning these wrenches, you'll be happy that money's there. So, okay, so finally, tell us a little bit of the differences between banks and credit unions.
So the major difference is a bank is for profit and a credit union is non-profit. So what that means is we are we are owned by our membership, whereas a bank is owned by a person. So if you came in and you opened an account with us, you're an owner of the credit union. So by nonprofit, we like to turn our profit into rewards for our members, basically.
Okay.
So we are able to offer higher interest rates and savings, which means however much money you have in there, you're earning at a higher percentage to get a dividend into your account. We also offer lower interest rates on loans, so you're not paying as much interest on those. Um, of course, our fees are a lot lower, or we have a lot less fees than banks do because we're able to do that. Um, so the major thing that I love about credit unions is you are an owner as long as you're a member, and our membership basically elects what's called a board of directors. So the board of directors is who hires our CEO, and of course that trickles down to all of its employees. So we are basically ran by our membership. Anything, policies, rates, all that is approved by our board of directors. So it's pretty cool. It's a lot more personable. Um, Banks are bigger, so it's harder. If you go to Chase Bank, they're not going to know everybody by name. Those type of things. Credit unions are a lot smaller, more personable. So when you come in, usually our tellers are going to know you. They're going to say, "How have you been? How are your children?" It's just a totally different atmosphere. So love the credit union world. Both are good and both offer the same things. It's just a total different atmosphere.
Perfect. And so, are there many credit unions throughout the United States? 'Cause I know one of the reasons that people give for not having a bank account is because there's not any services or financial institutions available.
There is a lot of credit unions. Of course, there's a lot more banks, and I feel like that's why people more tend to go towards banks because they think, Chase Bank, there's one almost everywhere you go. But like I said, credit unions are joining together and saying, "Hey, we have this alliance. So if you have a member, they can come to us." So credit unions are worldwide. There's
Okay.
a lot of them. So.
Perfect. And so tell us a little bit about what makes Southwest 66 Credit Union in particular different than maybe some of the other credit unions, some of the great services that y'all provide.
So the main thing is we are, I believe, the only one in that credit union alliance that's in our area.
Okay.
So even people that bank at other credit unions that are out of Odessa, out of Midland, they are able to come and do their transactions in our lobbies.
Okay.
So we help the other credit unions. I know right now we are maybe the only one or one of the very few that have instant issue debit cards. So, normally you come in and you open an account and they say, "Okay, that'll be 7 to 10 days and you'll have your debit card in your mail." Well, here you can walk in, open your account, we give you a debit card instantly. So, there's a lot of fun things about us, but I would say those two are the main things that kind of put us separate than some other credit unions.
And you mentioned earlier that Southwest 66 Credit Union does have online banking available to their members.
Absolutely. We have online banking. We have your app that you can download on your phone. So we have our call center, a bunch of ways to contact us. We
And
also
that
have a Card Valet app that's pretty cool. So it kind of lets you control your debit card. So if you're out and about and you say you're out of town and you want to make sure that if your debit card gets lost for some reason, it can't be used at a certain amount. So you can change it to only allow you to spend $100 at a time. Like it gives you instances you can say, "Shut off my debit card," or turn it back on. So it's a really cool app that you can use as well.
And you also mentioned that Southwest 66 also has um, um, representatives available to help them set up their accounts and online accounts as well. When somebody comes in, do they have to ask for that particular service, or how do they go about
So
obtaining?
when you're opening your account, basically they will offer you everything that we have to offer.
Okay.
So, and at that time you're wanting online banking and you're wanting the app and all that, they will walk you through each one of those things to help you get those set up.
Perfect. And does a customer have to set up a checking and savings, or do they have the option of setting up one or the other?
So to become a member of our credit union, you have to have at least a savings. So if you wanted a checking, you would have to have a savings and checking. But if you wanted just strictly savings, you can do just a savings.
Perfect. Okay, and so is there any other last minute information that you would like to share with our viewers and our students, Erica?
Biggest thing is, I know right now is a hard time for a lot of people, and unfortunately, I don't see that it's going to change anytime right now soon.
Mm-hmm.
So I really recommend, if there is anything people are struggling with or needing help, how can I pay stuff down? What do you recommend? I really recommend people coming and talking about credit counseling, just so we can have one of our financial counselors sit with you and kind of discuss those things and try to make things easier for people. I just really encourage people to save those stimuluses if you're able to, and to earn some money off of those. But however, if you're not and you have to pay bills, just do what you have to do, but just spend those wisely, because that's a nice help to have right now. So just hope.
And credit counseling, is that free? Is that free, available to members? Okay.
It sure is. And even if you're not a member, all you have to do is come in and open a savings account. It's just $1 you have to deposit in there.
Oh, wow.
All you have to have is your ID and your social, and $1.
Perfect. we can have $1. You can probably find 4 quarters and go and open an account with Southwest 66 Credit Union. And so for all of our viewers and followers and students, we'll be posting the links that Erica shares with us, link to the Southwest 66 Credit Union website, and any other links that Erica shares with us. So if you want more information, and we'll also be sharing Erica's direct contact phone number if she makes it available to us. Well, thank you so much, Erica. This is very important information that our students and our followers and viewers need to know, and I hope that everybody learned something. And we thank you again for joining us, Erica. We greatly appreciate you sharing all this information with our students and our viewers.
Thank you for having me, and I'll definitely send that info to you so you can share with everybody.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and we'll see y'all next time.